The Fence Between Us, a story of grief, grace, and forgiveness.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving into a really deeply moving story about the invisible fortresses we build around ourselves and the extraordinary power of grace required to tear them down. We're going to explore how grief can isolate us and how unconditional kindness can literally bring us back to life.
So think about this for a second. Can a single act of grace actually dismantle a whole lifetime of prejudice? To figure that out, we're going to examine the intersecting lives of two incredibly different neighbors on one crisp autumn day.
Section 1, The Wall of Prejudice. Let's meet Gerald. He's a 68-year-old grieving widower living a very quiet, isolated life. And then there's Amara, a 30-year-old African-American pediatric nurse and single mom who just moved in next door. Well, before a single word is even spoken between them, Gerald instantly judges her. He basically lets deep-seated prejudices, generational biases, and a fear of the unfamiliar lock his wounded heart behind this massive, invisible fortress of silent resentment. These two are literally living in totally different emotional worlds. Gerald's life has shrunk down into this dark, silent routine of grief after losing his wife. But Amara, she's stepping into this bright, hopeful chapter, looking for genuine community. And what's fascinating here is how Gerald's tall wooden fence becomes a direct physical manifestation of his cultural divide. He stubbornly reinforces it, completely ignoring Amara's cheerful morning greetings and friendly waves across the frost-covered grass.
Section 2, The Shattered Memories.
Now, watch how the timeline of this tension escalates. We start with weeks of just quiet, silent hostility in October. Then, things suddenly spike on a windy Tuesday afternoon, setting off a chain reaction that ultimately peaks in a devastating climax just 3 days later. So, let's look at that windy Tuesday. A serious autumn gale sweeps through the neighborhood. Amara's young daughter is outside playing soccer, and a massive gust of wind catches the ball, sending it right over that tall wooden fence. And crash. It strikes Gerald's most prized possession, a delicate, hand-painted blue ceramic bird feeder. It shatters completely. This was literally the last gift his late wife, Clara, ever made for him. In a split second, all of Gerald's profound sorrow over losing her twists into this blind, irrational anger directed entirely at Amara's innocent family. He marches straight over and unleashes years of pent-up bitterness, throwing these harsh, biased assumptions right at her. But here's the thing, Amara doesn't retaliate. She just shields her daughter. And looking right into his eyes, her empathetic eyes recognize the truth. She sees that this furious man screaming at her isn't just battling racial bias. He is absolutely drowning in an ocean of unresolved grief and profound loneliness. It really makes you stop and wonder, doesn't it? When the walls we build to protect ourselves actually become a prison, who is going to be there to hear our cries? Gerald honestly thought his walls were keeping him safe, but that illusion becomes terrifyingly real just 3 days later during a violent, freezing autumn storm.
Section 3, The Freezing Storm.
Plunged into complete darkness without power, a life or death crisis unfolds. Inside his freezing house, Gerald wakes up shivering uncontrollably. As he tries to get up, a sudden, agonizing pain grips his chest, a panic-induced heart arrhythmia. He collapses helplessly onto the cold hardwood floor of his hallway. Fading away in the frigid dark, totally unable to reach the telephone, Gerald is suddenly forced to face the ultimate, terrifying consequence of pushing the entire world away. He is completely trapped by his own isolation.
Section 4, An Act of Grace.
As dawn breaks and a quiet, freezing mist settles over the neighborhood, Amara steps outside. Her professional nursing instincts immediately kick in. She notices the warning signs right away: an untouched newspaper and a smokeless chimney. Ignoring every single one of Gerald's previous cruel warnings, she rushes over. She finds the back kitchen door blown unlatched by the wind and discovers him unconscious. Without a single ounce of resentment, she wraps him in warm thermal blankets from her medical bag, skillfully checks his vitals, and calls emergency services. Her calm, unconditional kindness is quite literally the lifeline that pulls him back from the edge.
Section 5, A Bridge of Forgiveness.
Fast forward a week. After recovering in the hospital from hypothermia and a heart arrhythmia, Gerald finally returns home to a discovery that shatters his worldview forever. He looks out at his garden and is absolutely overwhelmed. Amara has painstakingly restored his beloved blue ceramic bird feeder. Every single shattered piece has been meticulously glued back together by hand. And right beneath it sits a fresh basket of autumn apples with a handwritten note that simply says, "You are never alone." And you know those cracks in the ceramic? They were filled with this beautiful golden glue. It's such a profound symbol of meticulous healing. It brilliantly shows how grace and empathy can repair what is broken. You see, Amara didn't just mend a bird feeder. Her deep empathy actually began mending Gerald's shattered spirit. The fractures aren't hidden at all. They shine like golden badges of healing, turning this broken thing into a beautiful testament of restoration. Overwhelmed by a massive wave of remorse and gratitude, Gerald walks across his lawn. And get this, he leaves his gate wide open behind him for the absolute first time in years. He approaches Amara in tears, and he offers this incredibly deep, heartfelt apology for his blindness, his cruelty, and his ugly racial prejudices. He finally confesses just how wrong he was to judge her by her skin color instead of the extraordinary beauty of her heart. And Amara's response is just the ultimate emotional anchor here. Without a trace of anger, she simply tells him, "Forgiveness is the bridge that heals all wounds, and today is a fresh start for us both." It is such a powerful reminder that genuine reconciliation actually requires us to actively build bridges rather than just maintaining fences.
That tall wooden fence now stands as a testament to reconciliation, not division. Just picture this visual. Gerald and Amara sitting side by side in porch rocking chairs, sharing steaming ceramic mugs of herbal tea and laughing joyfully while watching the neighborhood children play in the golden sunset. It proves, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that true family isn't bound by blood or background. It's bound entirely by the kindness we choose to share.
This beautifully brings us to a really powerful realization that Gerald discovered in the twilight of his life. Prejudice and discrimination only build dark cages around our own hearts, stripping us of our humanity.
So, I want to leave you with this final thought. If we have the courage to dismantle our own invisible fences today, what beautiful differences might we discover in the people right next door? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Take a moment today to look closely at the walls in your own life. You might just find they are ready to